أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأصلي وأسلم صلاة وتسليما يليقان بمقام أمير الأنبياء وإمام المرسلين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ولي الصالحين وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وعظيمنا وحبيبنا محمدا رسول الله خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين صل اللهم وسلم وبارك على هذا النبي الأمين وعلى آله وصحابته الغر الميامين أما بعد. جماعة المسلمين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We normally begin our Jumu'ah with a verse from the Holy Quran. Today we are going to start with a hadith to set the stage not just for today but for the entire month of Ramadan bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And Ramadan Mubarak kullu aam wa antum bi khair bis-sahhati was-salama wal-afati wal-karama. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant each and every single one of you, one of us, each and every single one of us and our families a blessed and beneficial month of Ramadan. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. The hadith is muttafaqun alayh, which means it's to be found in the authentic compilation of a hadith of Al-Imam al-Bukhari and Al-Imam Muslim rahimahumullah ta'ala. عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إذا دخل رمضان فتحت أبواب الجنة وأغلقت أبواب جهنم وسلسلة الشياطين. That if the month of Ramadan enters, another riwayah إذا جاء رمضان فتحت أبواب الجنان وأغلقت أبواب النيران وصفدت الشياطين. سلسلت in this riwayah, sufidat in another riwayah. If the month of Ramadan comes, if the month of Ramadan enters, then the doors of Jannah are opened and the doors of Jahannam are closed and the shayateen are tied up. Sulsilat al-shayateen, sufidat al-shayateen. Another riwayah, sufidat al-shayateen wa maradatul jinn. At the shayateen and the rebellious jinn. Again, the ulama, they differ as to is there actually a difference. There are supposed to be different ranks of jinn. The jinn that lives amongst mankind, they call him Amir. And then you get the jinn that is a khabith, a wretched, disobedient, disbeliever. And that is what we call shaitan, لأنه شطن أي بعد عن الخير. بعد عن الخير. That's what the word شطن means, to be removed away from everything that which is good. And then the rank above that would be the marada or the marid min al-shayateen, and then the one which is supposed to be even more evil. And in terms of the shiddah, in terms of the strength that they have been assigned with in terms of tempting mankind and inviting him away from the path of Allah, we call them ifrit or afarit. So when the Prophet said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the shayateen and maradatul jinn, is it two different ranks or is it just a different expression for the same thing? Either or, it doesn't really matter. If we understand the concept of shaitan and the purpose of shaitan, then it doesn't matter which shayateen we are being faced with. Now, if this month of Ramadan is the month in which the shayateen are tied up, why did I begin my talk with A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim? This question was posed. You know, you have these online muftis. So I was reading one of these articles where a sister, she actually posed this question, that if in the month of Ramadan the shayateen are tied up, then why do I still need to say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim? And the mufti was quite taken aback to the degree that he actually made dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must save her from these wiswas. And I thought to myself, wow, that is now the ultimate curveball of shaitan. That shaitan actually gets us to stop seeking refuge in Allah from him. That in itself is a wiswas. That in itself is a whisper to say that we mustn't seek refuge because the shayateen are tied up. But the question is, are they really tied up? Are they literally tied up? Could be. Could be. Allahu A'lam. We don't know. The tying up, exactly how it is. Exactly what it looks like. We don't know. But I read something that Al-Imam Al-Qurtubi, rahimahullah ta'ala, makes mention of in his tafsir. One of the great classical mufassirin, Al-Imam Al-Qurtubi, from Qurtuba in Al-Andalus, in Islamic Spain. And basically what he says, فَإِنْ قِيلَ كَيْفَ نَرَى الشُّرُورَ وَالْمَعَاصِي وَاقِعَةً فِي رَمَضَانَ كَثِيرًا فَلَوْ سُفِدَتِ الشَّيَاطِينُ لَمْ يَقَعْ ذَلِكَ? Question mark. He says, if we see evil and disobedience being perpetrated, واقعة, happening in the month of Ramadan, كثيرا, a lot. This is Al-Imam Al-Qurtubi speaking. How many hundreds of years ago? There were still people, miskin, but itaghtiri bak and doing all sorts of other things in Ramadan. Allahu Alam. فَلَوْ سُفِدَتِ الشَّيَاطِينَ, if the shayateen had to be tied up, would that then have happened? So, فَالْجَوَابِ, Al-Imam Al-Qurtubi writes, the answer to that question is, أنها إنما تقل عن الصائمين الصوم الذي حُفِظ على شروطه وروعيت آدابه. So he answers, he says that these acts of evil and acts of disobedience are to be found far little or far less in number amongst those who are fasting, looking after all the conditions and etiquettes of their fast. And my heart inclines towards this answer. I'm not saying it's the only answer. They could be literally tied up. They could be literally chained, you know. But then other questions arise. Why is there still so much evil in the world? Are the shayateen only assigned to the Muslimin, to the mu'mineen, to the sa'imin, to those coming for Taraweeh? Allahu Akbar. I've never seen this masjid so full as I saw it last night. Alhamdulillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep it full. And so I pondered over these questions. Is it literal? Is it figurative? Is it allegorical? Allahu Alam. The answer to that is not really important. We take it for what it is. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that if Ramadan comes, the doors of Jannah opened, and the commentators on the hadith say, of course, the doors of all the deeds that will get us to Jannah are now fully available for us. وَأُغْلِقَتْ أَبْوَابُ النِّيرَانِ وَأُغْلِقَتْ أَبْوَابُ جَهَنَّمَ, and the doors of Jahannam are closed, meaning that by making siyam and making qiyam, automatically we are staying away from those actions that are going to take us to the fire. وَصُفِدَتِ الشَّيَاطِينَ, and the shayateen are tied up. In other words, the shayateen, they are definitely restricted in this month. But when we ponder over Al-Imam Al-Qurtubi's answer, it's not the chains that are restricting the shayateen in this month of Ramadan, it's us. We are the ones that are restricting the shayateen. With what? With our remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the more we remember Allah, the more the shaitan is forced to withdraw and doesn't have the ability to make wiswas. As in that hadith that we studied a few weeks ago, قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الشيطان جاثم على قلب ابن آدم فإذا ذكر الله خنس وإذا غفل وسوس. Shaitan is perched on the, and persistently. Jathama means to perch, but to perch persistently. Almost like you see those wildlife movies where the lion is waiting in the tall grass and he's just perched, or the leopard or the cheetah, just waiting to pounce, waiting to sprint, waiting to attack persistently. Now this is the like of shaitan on the heart of man. On the heart of man. Remember, he is one of our four enemies. Shaitan is one of our four enemies. إني بليت بأربع يرمونني بالنبل أن قوس لها توتير إبليس والنفس والدنيا والهوى يا ربي إنك على الخلاص قدير. Indeed, I was tested with four enemies, like four arrows shot from the strongest bow. Iblis, shaitan, nafs, the lower self, dunya, the bling bling of the material world, wal hawa, and my whims and my fancies. Oh Allah, you are the only one that can save me. Ya Rabbi, innaka ala al-khalasi qadiru. You're the only one that can truly save me and protect me from these enemies. So our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in a hadith, he illustrates this beautifully. He says, تُعْرَضُ الْفِتَنَ عَلَى الْقُلُوبِ كَعَرْضِ الْحَسِيرِ عُودًا عُودًا. Said that temptation is presented to the hearts. Temptation is presented to the hearts. Like the weaving of a straw mat, or if you like, a straw basket. You know, you see them with the reeds. The basket makers, they put the reed in between their feet, or the basket that they are weaving, and they turn the basket, and as they turn the basket, reed interlocks reed in a circular motion. So the Prophet said sallallahu alaihi wasallam that evil temptation and evil invitation is presented to the heart, just like these reeds, temptation, interlocking temptation, surrounding the heart from all angles. فما أشرب منها نكتت فيه نكتة سوداء. So whatever heart absorbs of that temptation, the temptation cannot enter. None of those enemies, including Iblis, have an authority of their own. It is we who allow that temptation to enter the heart. So if an evil temptation enters the heart, a black mark will be made. And if the heart, or the shield of taqwa that we are striving for in this month of Ramadan, keeps that evil temptation at bay, a white mark will be made on the heart. حتى تصير القلوب على قلبين. Until there are two types of hearts. قلب أسود مرباد كالكوز المجخية. A black hardened heart. Through the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every time allowing that temptation into the heart. Listening to that wiswas, listening to that evil whispering, and answering the call, answering the invitation. إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا إِنَّمَا يَدْعُ حِزْبَهُ لِيَكُونُوا مِنْ أَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ. Indeed, shaitan is for you an enemy, says Allah in the Holy Quran. So take him as your enemy. Indeed, he invites his followers, those that accept his invitations and temptations, he invites them to dwell with him and be his companions in the fire of Jahannam. So it's up to us whether we want to accept that invitation or reject it. Until there are two types of hearts, he said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. A black hardened heart, like an upside down turned vessel. What can you do with an upside down turned vessel? Can you fill it with anything? لا يعرف معروفا ولا ينكر منكرا. He describes it. It does not recognize good, nor does it reject anything that is bad. إلا ما أشرب من هوى, except that which it follows of its whims and its fancies. وقلب أبيض لا تدره فتنة ما دامت السماوات والأرض. And the heart that has been whitened through the light of obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no trial or tribulation, no evil invitation or temptation will be able to harm that heart as long as the heavens and the earth exist. And this is our constant battle. Ramadan is no exception. This is our constant battle. يا موسى لا تضع محاربة الشيطان ما دامت روحك في بدنك فإنه لا يضع محاربتك أبدا. As it comes in that Athar Qudsi. Oh Musa, never leave your battle with the shaitan as long as your soul is in your body, for he will never ever leave his battle with you. But the thing, Jamaatul Muslimin, that is making it that last night the masjid was so full that we literally had to shorten the gaps in between the sufuf to make room for people to come in, is because the people are becoming, at this time, especially today is the first of Ramadan, last night was the first Taraweeh, everybody's been waiting anxiously, very excited, looking forward, very conscious of this gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has presented us with this month of Ramadan. And because of that consciousness, the shaitan had no choice but to withdraw. إِذَا ذَكَرَ اللَّهَ خَنَسَ. If he remembers or she remembers Allah, the believer, خَنَسَ. He is al-khannas. Al-waswas al-khannas. Al-waswas, the whisperer. Al-khannas, the withdrawer. He has no choice but to withdraw. And that's why it's so important that this excitement, this zeal that we have at the beginning of Ramadan, which we have because our consciousness and mindfulness of being Muslimin, of being mu'mineen, of being the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, worshipping Him more in this month than any other month, something that we've become so used to. It's almost habitual, it's almost traditional. But we need it to be more than that. If we are to get the effect, the desired effect, and that is to live from Ramadan to Ramadan. And not just to be Ramadan Muslims. Not just to be conscious in the month of Ramadan. It then took me back to the story of our father, Abuna Adam, alayhi salatu wassalam. And how was it possible for shaitan to actually get through to him? He got through to him, didn't he? Yes, he did. Even though we tricked him, but he got through to him. And how did he get through to him? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains to us very clearly in the Holy Quran. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ويا آدم اسكن أنت وزوجك الجنة. Oh Adam, you and your partner, your spouse, uskun, stay in the garden. Stay in the garden. We're not going to debate where that garden was. In fact, Ibn Kathir says there are 5 opinions, and the best opinion is not to be sure of any of the opinions, because we'll never know. Inshallah, we'll find out in the Jannah where that Jannah was. Stay, you and your spouse, in the garden. فَكُلَا مِنْ حَيْثُ شِئْتُمَا, and eat from whatever you like in this garden. وَلَا تَقْرَبَا هَذِهِ الشَّجَرَةِ, but don't come near to the tree, the forbidden tree. فَتَكُونَا مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. Underline that word, ظَالِمِينَ, because then you will be of the oppressors. Who will you be oppressing? The tree? The fruit? No, yourselves. You will be oppressing yourselves. فَوَسْوَسَ لَهُمَا الشَّيْطَانُ لِيُبْدِيَ لَهُمَا مَا وُورِيَ عَنْهُمَا مِنْ سَوْآتِهِمَا وقال ما نهاكما ربكما عن هذه الشجرة إلا أن تكون ملكين أو تكون من الخالدين. And so Shaitan whispered. Shaitan whispered. Life began very easily for our father and our mother. You know that? I was watching a clip the other day. They were talking about how hard times create strong men. And strong men make great effort. And through great effort, great achievements. And easy times make weak men. And weak men don't make effort. And with no effort, there's ultimate failure. Our existence as Bani Adam, from our father and our mother, Adam and Hawa alayhim as-salatu was-salam, began very easily. They were in a walled garden. I mean, this was, if you take the opinion that the garden was on earth, which is a very acceptable opinion. In fact, Sheikh Muhammad bin Tawali Sha'arabi has a beautiful explanation about that. And that surrounding this garden was desert. Yani Sahara, Qahila. But in this garden, this walled garden, they had shade, they had fruit of every kind, they had water, they had everything that they needed, an easy life. And maybe through that ease, maybe our father Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, he became a little bit neglectful in terms of his consciousness. Otherwise, how would Shaitan have been able to make that wiswas? But what was that neglect? How did it manifest itself? How did he get through? Listen to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. So Shaitan whispered in order to expose to them that which had been hidden of their aura. And he said, your creator and sustainer, Rabbukuma, Rabbukuma min al-rububiyyah, alladhi yakhluq wa yubqi. Your creator and sustainer did not prohibit you from this tree, except for the fact that if you eat from it, you'll become like two angels. And all you will be granted eternal life. تكون ملكين أو تكون من الخالدين. You'll be granted, you'll become like two angels. Who doesn't want to be an angel? Angel, لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم. Angels don't disobey Allah. And you'll be granted immortality. You'll be able to worship Allah forever. But now, for who would they do this? Allah has clearly told them, وَلَا تَقْرَبَا, don't come near to that tree. But now, they are thinking about themselves. Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, he is the one that is responsible for his spouse here, and he's the one that's making the decisions. He is thinking, well, this would be a good thing, to become like an angel or to be granted eternal life. In other words, he's being conscious of his own self, what he thinks will benefit him and his spouse, and not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded. That should not be questioned at all. That which we shouldn't even think twice about. And so what was the result thereof? وَقَاسَمَهُمَا إِنِّي لَكُمَا مِنَ النَّاصِحِينَ. Iblis even made a qasam. He made an oath to them. He said, I'm just giving you good advice. I'm just giving you good advice. فَدَلَّاهُمَا بِغُرُورٍ. And so he deceived them with guile. He tricked them, in other words. Hy het vir hulle 'n kop aangesit. Literally. فَدَلَّهُمَا بِغُرُورٍ فَلَمَّا ذَاقَ الشَّجَرَ. And so when they tasted the fruit, they didn't bite and then chew and then swallow. No, just tasted it. Because each one of those would have been a sin. When they just tasted the fruit, بَدَتْ لَهُمَا سَوْآتُهُمَا, and the aura was exposed to them. وَاتَّفِقَا يَخْسِفَانِ عَلَيْهِمَا مِنْ وَرَقِ الْجَنَّةِ. And they took the leaves from the trees in the garden to cover their private parts. وَنَادَاهُمَا رَبُّهُمَا. And their creator and sustainer called out to them, أَلَمْ أَنْهَكُمَا عَنْ تِلْكُمَا الشَّجَرَةِ. Didn't I prohibit you from eating from this tree? And that was not the thing that they forgot. I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specifically says, وَلَقَدْ عَهِدْنَا إِلَىٰ آدَمْ مِنْ قَبْلِ فَنَسِي. We took a covenant with Adam before, and so he forgot. What did he forget? He didn't forget that the tree was prohibited. He didn't forget that the tree was prohibited. But you know what he did forget? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then says at the end of the verse, وَأَقُلْ لَكُمَا إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لَكُمَا عَدُوٌّ مُبِينٌ. And did I not tell you that shaitan is for you an open enemy? And this is the thing that Adam forgot. He forgot that this shaitan who is whispering, he doesn't want any good for Adam. He wants to destroy Adam and the children of Adam. In fact, he took a qasam, he said, لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ إِلَّا عِبَادَكَ مِنْهُمُ الْمُخْلَصِينَ. He said, I will deceive all of them. This is after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cast him out of his service and cursed him until the day of resurrection when he'll get his punishment, but gave him respite to only whisper, no authority. وَقَالَ الشَّيْطَانُ لَمَّا قُضِيَ الْأَمْرِ. And that's why on the day of judgment, shaitan will say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and shaitan will say on the day when the matter comes to being, on the day of judgment, إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَعَدَكُمْ وَعْدَ الْحَقِّ. Allah promised you a promise of truth. وَوَعَدْتُكُمْ فَأَخْلَفْتُكُمْ. And I promised you, but I deceived you. وَمَا كَانَ لِي عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ سُلْطَانٍ إِلَّا أَنْ دَعُوتُكُمْ فَاسْتَجَبْتُمْ لِي. And I had no authority over you. I couldn't force you to do anything except that I invited you and you answered my invitation. فَلَا تَلُومُونِ. So don't blame me. وَلُومُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. But blame yourselves. مَا أَنَا بِمُصْرِخِكُمْ وَمَا أَنْتُمْ بِمُصْرِخِي. You cannot help me on this day, neither can I help you. So Jamaatul Muslimin, yes, our father was strict. Our father never disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on purpose. But had he been focusing only on the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like we say 5 times a day after as-salawat al-khams, sami'na wa ata'na. No twice 5. No questioning. No trying to make sense of. Sami'na wa ata'na ghufranak. We hear and we obey. Oh Allah, forgive us. Oh Allah, forgive us. Because when we start taking into consideration our own opinion about things, following our whims and fancies, our lusts and desires, that is when we open the door wide open for shaitan to take us from the straight path of Allah. So this month of Ramadan, Jamaatul Muslimin, let it be that month in which we are going to strengthen our resolution, our, soos hulle sê in Afrikaans, ons staan vastigheid against the evil whisperings of shaitan. And that whatever we're going to do in this month, whether it is coming for Taraweeh at night, fasting in the daytime, spending of our wealth, do it with Allah consciousness. Do it purely for the sake of Allah and for His sake alone. And then we will truly see the desired effect that Qiyam and Siyam should have on us, ever strengthening us against this prime enemy of ours, that which our father and our mother were warned about in the garden. Aduun mubin, a clear and open enemy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this fast easy for us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us to become truly of the muttaqeen, to become in awe of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this month, ever strengthening that shield that we place between ourselves and every type of behavior that would bring upon us the displeasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ramadan Mubarak, kullu am wa antum bi khair, wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alamin.